let's talk about what I discovered my first 14 days of intuitive eating, like intentionally intuitive eating and all that good stuff. For a very brief recap, since November of this year, eating and drinking water have become non-existent for me. It was negatively affecting my health and my mental well-being. And while I wasn't doing this to lose weight, because ironically I put on weight when I don't eat because my body hangs on to everything out of, fear, I knew I had to start eating in order to lose the 12 pounds I've put on during not eating, if that makes sense. And this is what I've learned. Just in like the first 3 days, I learned that I just ignore hunger cues because I am on the go at home and there's things to do. So it's one of those things where it's like, hey, I'm hungry, but I got to go do X, Y, Z. So I can quickly and easily ignore being hungry and being thirsty because I feel so pressured to get and do all the things. I also just don't want to invest time in preparing food for myself. I will spend all the time preparing meals for my family, and I will partake in eating things for the family unit. But in terms of like an individual meal, like breakfast or lunch, I have no drive to do that for myself. I view it as a time waster. I could be doing other things. Even though I just spent 20-30 minutes getting everybody else's meal, I won't do that for myself. I also eat really fast. Sit down, inhale my food so that I can get on to the next thing. And growing up, my family, like my mom and dad, were very fast eaters. It was a joke growing up with, because they were New Yorkers and New Yorkers eat fast. I have no idea if that is true or not, but that's what I grew up with hearing, as well as, my dad was one of 9. If you didn't eat it while it was on the table, you didn't get to eat. So I grew up in a very fast eating household. And then couple that with being a mom who is doing it all and a caregiver and a homeschool, my family, it's like just eat and go. And that would also mean eating a small amount quickly, or just eating standing. I wasn't taking the time to thoughtfully and purposefully eat. I would ignore being thirsty, even though I would keep drinks out on the counter. We keep our drinks in the kitchen so they don't spill throughout the house. And I spend most of my time in the kitchen, preparing things for everybody. I wouldn't stop to take a drink. I would tell everybody else, remember to drink, but I didn't practice what I preached. When it came to having food in the house that I liked, I put aside my food preferences in order to save money on our grocery bill. So while I would eat things that were in the house, if, more likely I wouldn't, because it wasn't something that necessarily interested me to eat, and or I wouldn't eat what was in the house so that they were items available for the rest of the family that I knew really liked it, because I would go around asking, hey, what's your special request from Aldi this week? And I wouldn't eat those things because I knew other people really wanted them, even though we are a house that doesn't hoard food and oh, this is mine, not yours. But I wouldn't want to eat other things that the family liked. So there just wasn't a lot of options available that I liked. There was food here I was never wanting, but my preferences weren't here. And when I would take the time to eat, the family was always going, oh, hey, before you sit and eat, can you go do this? I need that. So, I just felt like I couldn't eat. It's not that I don't want to say I wasn't allowed to eat, but I always joke that when I'm sitting, that's when my family goes, why are you sitting? You need to be up and doing things. So let me give you things to do. So when these last 14 days, I was purposefully and intentionally eating, my family, mainly during the week, meaning my mom and 2 kids, would look at me going, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm having a snack. I'm sitting down and eating this protein bar, or I am having a sit-down lunch. And it was confusing to them. And I had to set boundaries where when they were asking me to do things, and I would have to say no once I'm done eating. And that took a lot of strength to do on my part, and it took some adjustment on their part. From the beginning, my husband has been very supportive, and when he learned of all the struggles, because I masked it and hid it, he was very frustrated that this had even begun, and so he was very forcefully supportive of, put food on the grocery order that you want. Have you eaten? When was the last time you eaten? Is that enough? Don't just say you're hungry and move on. And then there were family discussions of, hey, mom needs to sit down to eat. She needs to drink. She's allowed to take these moments to nourish herself, literally nourish herself. And, by the end of those 2 weeks, my mom was going, hey, did you have your mid-morning snack? Because I discovered if I didn't have a mid-morning snack before 2, I would get pounding headaches throughout the day. And it was, I was just going too long between meals, and I would get cranky and headachy. And, my son would be like, is that a snack that you want to be having? Don't just eat that because it's easy to eat and quick to eat. So, by the end, everybody was being way more helpful than they were prior. So for this season of life, I learned I need easier, more accessible meal options for especially lunch, because instinctively I want to skip lunch to keep going and doing things, especially when everybody is either napping like my mom and my kids are eating and there's a lull and I can accomplish stuff. I would rather not fix myself a meal and just go do things. So my lunches have to be simpler and easier to prepare. And that pains me because that convenience comes with a price. But I guess it's give and take right now. And I also discovered I was just eating the same things because I was comfortable having them around to make and eat, if that makes sense. And then when I sat down, I was like, I'm not enjoying this. This isn't something I want to eat. I've just been having the same breakfast for 2.5 years. I don't want this breakfast, actually. So I've had to sit down and think and feel, what do I want? And that's hard, actually, for me to put myself in the running to think about. So yeah. But something else I discovered, and I think I always knew it deep down, but I really felt it, was that I also didn't want to be seen eating or having a snack, because I grew up, my dad was obese. He went on a lot of dieting, yo-yo dieting, up and down in weight. He was a comfort eater. He was, a whole bag of chips for a snack type of eater. And I grew up in a house where my mom would make comments to him. Oh, you're eating again? What are you eating now? Blah, 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 that type of thing. And, if I would have a snack in adult life with her in my adult life, whether she realized it or not, she would be like, oh, hey, you're having a snack. And it could have been meant conversationally. But I remembered growing up in the household where there was judgment for eating and the quantity of eating. So I would either avoid eating around her, like having a snack, or I would like try to eat those in between meal snacks when she wasn't around. And I'm not blaming her at all. It's just that was a realization on my part. And if she did make a comment like that, you know, if I was having a protein bar or I was having, you know, a beef jerky stick or whatever, and she would be like, hey, you're having a snack. And I'm like, yeah, I guess the lunch I had wasn't filling. Now I know for the future I need to incorporate more protein at lunch because I got hungry, you know, an hour or two later. And I know I didn't have to justify it or explain it, but it made me feel better to do so. So yeah, it was also helpful to share what I was eating. So thanks for sticking around and putting up with those little videos. But by the 14th day, I was quite done taking pictures and posting everything I ate. I just need a break from doing that. Maybe it'll just be a once in a blue moon thing. But I do realize that when I was doing that, I was making better food choices. I was not gravitating towards what I will call junk. Not that I'm gravitating towards junk, but I feel like I am craving more junk than I was. Or maybe that's just the natural cycle of things. I don't know if there's a correlation. So maybe I should go back to documenting. I'm not entirely sure. I'm blabbing. Anyway, that's what I've learned. And it's like I have to relearn how to eat. And I never thought I would have to do something like that. But you know, that's the season of life we're in with stay-at-home mom, caregiver, homeschooling, you know, wearing the many hats has taken its toll. And I just didn't think it would be in the way of eating and food, but is what it is. Anyway, thanks for listening. Thanks for your support. I had a lot of people on my initial announcement videos of doing this who were super supportive, you deserve this, you deserve to eat, and others going, I feel ya, I'm in the same boat. So thanks for being there during this little self-discovery. I hope you're doing okay, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.